because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
Maybe somebody can refresh my memory, but didn't Obama Biden promise to be the great uniter? The reason Donald Trump had to go was the country was way too divided. All of this violence in the streets, all of this just everybody at each other's throats all the time. We need to put an adult back in charge. That's what we even heard from traitors like John Kasich, who jumped from being a Republican to endorsing Joe Biden to be the president of the United States. And yet, the president today took a shot at over half the country, basically pulling a Hillary Rodham Clinton and calling us deplorable by saying we are the most extreme. Well, what exactly is extreme about us?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
For weeks, the mainstream media has been building up the primaries, which happened yesterday, especially in Ohio and Indiana, that this was going to be a real test. Did Donald Trump still have any sway within the Republican Party? Was he able to hold together his coalition? And they were just salivating over the fact that he had given his nod, his endorsement to J.D. Vance in the state of Ohio. Now, 3-4 weeks ago, J.D. Vance was in polling in single digits, and then Donald Trump endorsed him. He's an author, a former venture capitalist, and initially, J.D. Vance had said some things that, like he really wasn't kind of like Trump's guy. And that upset, obviously, a lot of Trump supporters. But 3 weeks ago, Donald Trump gave him the official head nod. Donald Trump Jr. gave him the official head nod. And overnight, this guy just exploded. And of course, the mainstream media was talking about Trump supporters are divided over this. And now the Trump team is being pulled apart. And it was supposed to be a referendum that if any of these candidates that Donald Trump endorsed lost, that was it. He was done. He had no more sway in the Republican Party, and we can go back to business as usual. And this is what people like Governor Asa Hutchinson are hoping for, and we're hoping for when he did his big interview on CNN over the weekend, where he took a trashing shot at Governor DeSantis of Florida. That we Republicans basically can't really stand for anything. We got to go back to the George Bush and Mitt Romney way of doing things, which is talking about middle of the road approach and then basically doing nothing and letting the Democrats just do whatever they want, and especially these woke corporations, because they might get mad and we might get bad press out of it. We certainly can't have any of that. But one thing we can really unite around, whether they be Democrats or Republicans, we know that the entire inside Washington politics, from the military-industrial complex and the swamp, we all like war, so we can get behind, fighting Russia and Ukraine. That's what unites us. And we'll talk about tax cuts. We ain't gonna really do it, but we'll talk about tax cuts. But we're gonna sound like Republican. We're gonna sound like conservative. But we can't have any more of this Trump stuff, because look what happened on January 6th. And that was Governor Asa Hutchinson. And you've had the Mitt Romneys and the Liz Cheneys just salivating at this January 6th inquiry that's going to happen sometime in the month of June, because Donald Trump has to be done. He has to be over. He has to be vanquished, crushed. Donald Trump endorsed 11 candidates for yesterday's primary. All 11 won. Let that sink in. So today, Joe Biden, getting everybody, all the press together, and I think it was the Roosevelt Room. He's going to lie through his teeth about what he's done to fix the economy. He broke the economy. We had high-paying jobs, and everything was rocking and rolling until the pandemic and the fraudulent shutdown nonsense, which just absolutely stifled the economy. And then, of course, they were able to parlay that into the whole campaign became the president does not know how to handle the coronavirus and we're all going to die. It was just fear, 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 fear. And then, of course, Obama Biden took the reins in January of 21 and just magically everything was going to get better. Well, it didn't, because he had given away so much money and we shut off our own oil supply and we're going to go around the world and be like beggars with our hats in our hands, begging other countries to give, and just freebie, 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 freebie. And now look what happened. Look what's going on right now. We've got inflation through the roof. They're trying to blame it on Russian sanctions because it's our patriotic duty to pay more at the gas pump to make Ukraine a democracy, even though they're really not. And on the lie goes. So the president, after just lying through his teeth, he decides to open it up for questions. And of course, nobody wants to talk to him about that. They want to talk to him about the Supreme Court decision, or I should say, the leaked document from 2 days ago. And listen to Joe Biden's response.
And also on a separate issue, what's the next step on abortion once this case gets settled?
I want to ask about deficits, huh? I want to make sure this doesn't get covered. Okay, here we go.
Did you see what he said? He's basically saying, hey, I just stood here for 15 minutes and laid out and lied through my teeth about what I've accomplished for the economy, and you don't even want to talk about that. No, they don't. Because the media knows they can't sell this dog to the American people. The American people aren't buying it. The Democratic Party knows they are being set up for an absolute bloodletting for the midterm elections. And the biggest killers are the economy and that wide open border and the runaway crime. And people have had it. And Joe Biden, standing there, my predecessor never did what I did. You're right, he didn't kill the economy. He grew the economy, and more jobs were created under Donald Trump. And Joe Biden's lie that I created more jobs than any president in American history. No. In 2021, all the businesses that were forced to close reopened. People simply went back to work. Nothing new got created. Nice lie there, Joe. But then again, you and Biden, or you and Hunter, and your crime family, you wouldn't know the truth if you fell over it. But, be that as it may, the American people are starting to wake up to all of this. So he says, you don't want to talk about my great economy. Fine. You want to talk about SCOTUS and that decision? And of course, they're not going to talk about what this case is actually about. They make it sound like if this actually happens, if the Supreme Court overturns Roe versus Wade, that abortion is illegal in this country. Isn't it amazing? I said this yesterday, that I believe this leak was not just done on purpose. This was done not necessarily to intimidate the court, not to go through with this decision. I believe it was leaked on purpose as a dog whistle to the Democratic base to energize them for the midterms. I'm telling you, this is a way that the Democratic political machine operates. This is how they get the donations to start rolling in again. And this now gives them a cause. They can't run on the economy. They can't run on crime. They can't run on the border. They can't even run on the virus anymore. They just can't. So now they know that Republicans are poised to kick their tail from one end of the country to the other, even in blue states and blue districts. So they need something that somehow gets Democrats fired up to leave their house and actually go vote. And they believe they've got it. And aha! We've got to make sure that we have got a Democratic Congress in place to vote into actual law abortion. Bum. And there's something. As soon as this document gets leaked, Camilla thinks she's a Hottie Harris, was giving a speech where she just, one of the best speeches she's ever given, where she just articulated her venom over what they're trying to do to women's rights and yada, yada, yada. Like, this has been set up. This has been building. This was leaked on purpose. The timing, everything. I think they also knew they were probably going to get their clocks cleaned in these primaries, and they wanted the media talking about anything today but the fact that Donald Trump went 11 for 11 last night. So that's why all this is happening. But then, of course, Joe Biden, like the rest of the Democratic ilk, they've got to take this to a hyper extreme. Here comes the hyperbole. I heard one commentator say that this is just the beginning. Why, if they overturn Roe versus Wade, the next thing that will be illegal is interracial marriage. Again, they don't argue the actual what is the issue here. The issue is not the legalization of abortion. The issue is the Supreme Court cannot actually make law. Abortion has never actually, on a federal level, been voted into law. It's just not there. They've built the whole thing on, quote, the right to privacy. Okay. But that's not law when it says that a woman has the right to terminate a pregnancy. That is not law. And so by overturning Roe versus Wade, what it forces the states to do is they can vote it into law, which, by the way, every state has. Even red states have abortion laws, and they aren't going anywhere. Now, some red states have beefed them up. You can't have an abortion after 8 weeks. Some it's 12 weeks. But we got Democrats who would basically commit infanticide and kill the baby once it's been delivered and just knife it on the gurney at birth and just call it a post-birth abortion. Now, that a little too graphic for you, but that's the reality of how sick, twisted, and demented, warped, perverted the Democrats are. And you can laugh all you want about the Hillary Clinton pedophile scandal with the pizza parlor, and you can laugh all you want about that stuff, but stop and think about it. These Democrats, and on the one hand, they want to throw babies into trash cans and flush them down the toilet and guarantee a woman's right to be able to do that to children. And on the other hand, you got all these other freaked out loons who are kindergarten and preschool teachers who want to talk to your 5-year-old about their gender, their body parts, and you might have a little dingly, but you might actually be a girl, or you could be pansexual. You could want to have sex with both. Oh, you don't know what sex is at 5? Let me explain to you what sex is. You take all your clothes. These are pedophiles. These are predators. These are perverts masquerading as teachers, masquerading as children's rights advocates. Give me a break. These people are absolutely sick and demented and warped when it comes to what they want to do to children. So again, Joe Biden taking this, if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, you know what the states will do next?
What happens if you have a state change the law saying that children who are LGBTQ can't be in classrooms with other children? Is that legit under the way the decision is written? What are the next things that are going to be attacked?
A shot at Governor Ron DeSantis, which again, there is nothing that Ron DeSantis or any Republican did that says that, kids from same-sex couples or trans couples or even kids that are thinking about it themselves can't go to school, can't be with other kids. All the law said was that teachers cannot teach it to 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. And again, what type of warped thinking allows this so-called president, this installed individual, to pick an assistant secretary of health who is a trans warped individual themselves who wants to give hormone blockers to every student in America before the age of puberty till they finally officially tell us what gender they are. Then we can take them off the puberty blockers. let me ask you a question seriously. No matter what your political ideology is your kid a lab rat? Do you want your kids experimented on like a lab rat? Because I got some great video footage of Dr. Fauci, cutting the vocal cords of beagle puppies and then sticking their heads into enclosed encasements so they can be eaten alive by insects so they can, quote unquote, study the effects of that without hearing the dog yelp. Would you want that done to a child? You say, Pastor Marty, that's sick. Of course not. Then why do you want these sexoid perverts experimenting on your children? What could possibly go wrong with denying children the natural ability to develop in puberty? We're going to hold off on that for a while. These people are monsters. They are vile, and they are vulgar, and they are reprobate. But here's Joe Biden. He can't talk about the economy. So again, I think this whole Supreme Court leak is done on purpose. We might even find out that Chief Justice or somebody in his office leaked it. Working in collusion. We love that word. With members of the Democratic Party say, you want an issue to run on in November? I'm going to give you a doozy. Let me show you one internal document which looks like at least one of the justices is leaning toward overturning Roe versus Wade. That ought to get all your libloons out of the house and in the streets and, my body, my body. Here we go. Here we go. Because again, remember, the pro-America, America first. Let's not entangle ourselves in all these endless wars. Let's focus on our economy. Let's focus on building a great America. We're a danger. We're a threat. We want things like freedom of speech. We want things like being able to post and speak and this is dangerous. We want to not wear a mask and breathe and not be told we must inject something into our bodies whether we want to or not. Hey, where's the whole Fifth Amendment on that one, Jobo? But we're dangerous and extreme.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
No, dangerous and extreme is allowing the Democrats to retain control of Congress in 2022 and allowing Joe Biden or any other member of his party to serve as president in 2024. That has got to be stopped.